So good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing? Good. Welcome to this question and answer session. And I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Sister Tan Yim, which means it's a blue sky, even though the sky is not blue, but that inside of me is blue. So that's how I practice to be blue sky every day. And next to me is my sister, Sister Pham Ngim. She just arrived to Blue Cliff 2 months ago. And she is very helpful and very talented sometimes. And very joyful. So to my left, my far left, is Brother Din Chu. He's on the brother's side, and I don't know really much about him, but I know that he's very good shopper and a good car maintenance, and very strict about it. And to my left here is Brother Phaptok. He's also good with things. He's learning his English, and he speaks very well. And that's it. And I would like to introduce you about question answers. So for me, every time when I come up to ask a question, I ask from my heart. From my heart means from your practice and from your daily suffering that you haven't get the answer from or stuck with, or your joyful daily life is from your practice. And we try to stay away from too much theory questions or questions out from the books. If you ask us out from the books that you read, meaning that we're not going to answer that because we don't read your book. So if you want to ask something, you just come up here and you sit for a few seconds and listen to the bell, and then you answer, and then you ask us questions, and we will answer out of our practice. A good question doesn't have to be long, and a good answer doesn't have to be long. So please, if you cannot come up here for yourself, then you can write down a piece of paper and pass it up here to us. Then we can do that too. And if you're shy, then you can ask someone else to do it for you. So it's really open space for everyone to have opportunities to ask us. Thank you very much, and enjoy your question and answers.
Any brave soul want to come up first? Please join us up here at the chair for your question.
Thank you, sisters and brothers. What is the best way to help a friend with their suffering?
Dạ, con kính thưa quý thầy, quý sư cô và toàn thể đại chúng. Cho con xin phép được nói tiếng Việt dễ hơn cho con. Con nghĩ đây là câu hỏi dễ nhất hay sao mấy thầy, mấy sư cô, để dành cho con trả lời trước. Theo con, một cách mà hay nhất và dễ nhất mà để giúp một người bạn của mình đang có khổ đau, đó là trước tiên chúng ta muốn giúp người khác thì mình phải biết cách làm lắng dịu cái thân tâm của mình trước. Thì con nghĩ cái thiện chí mà giúp đỡ người khác thì đó là một cái thiện chí rất là tốt, rất là lành, mà trong mỗi chúng ta ai cũng hướng tới cái điều đó. Tuy nhiên nếu mà mình muốn giúp người khác thì mình phải biết cách giúp bản thân của mình trước. Thì con nghĩ trước tiên anh muốn giúp bạn của anh thì anh phải biết cách làm lắng dịu thân tâm của mình trước bằng những cái pháp môn thực tập căn bản. Khi mà anh đến đây mà anh đã được thực tập, ví dụ như anh phải biết cách làm lắng dịu thân tâm của mình trong những lúc đi thiền hành, trong những lúc ngồi thiền, trong những lúc anh thực tập ăn cơm trong chánh niệm. Và khi mà mình có được cái sự bình an như vậy rồi đó, thì cái bước tiếp theo mà mình có thể giúp bạn của mình nữa, đó là mình có thể mình san sẻ cái khó khăn đó bằng cách thực tập lắng nghe sâu. Chứ trước khi mà mình chưa có được cái sự bình an mà mình muốn lắng nghe những cái nỗi khổ niềm đau của người khác á, thì lắm lúc nó sẽ làm cho cái tâm của mình nó cũng bất an hơn. Mặc dù là mình có cái thiện chí tốt, nhưng chúng ta chưa có được cái sự bình an bên trong của mình, thì mình không thể nào có thể lắng nghe hay là giúp đỡ những người xung quanh của mình. Thì đó là những cái cách mà con đang thực tập ở đây. Thì con nghĩ rằng đó là cách hay nhất mà con được biết. Xin cảm ơn.
So, dear Thai, dear Venerable, dear Sangha, we have a written question, so I'd like to read it first. Thai said not to repress your anger, fear, etc. But he also said not to water them and to invite good seeds up. Also, he said to examine the roots of your suffering. All of this seems like conflicting advice. How do you practice? How do you practice them? So I'd like to answer this question for our friend. In our practice of mindfulness, we don't suppress or we don't run away from our suffering. There are many examples that you could find in Thai's book or even in Thai's Dhamma talks. The one example is like a lotus. Underneath the pond, there's a lot of dead leaves, mud, anything that you think that is not useful or it's not good for the lotus. But over time, a lotus appear above the water in a very fragrant and beautiful flower. So the lotus need the mud to grow, and it feed on that mud to be fresh and to be strong and to be fragrant. And also there's another example, a practitioner is like a bird, depend on two wings. The left is the stopping and the right is the contemplation. So in your practice and in your daily life, if you feel hurt or you have any suffering, in the same question that has been answered, you should have time for yourself. Learn to look deeply into yourself, to practice at each moment of your daily life, through walking, through sitting, through eating, and to anything that brings you joyful is a way to water and to heal that inner child that you have been hurt for so long. It's like a stepping stone. If you say you can transform right away, you can't, but it takes time. And that time is your practice. Step by step, you learn the symbol from your breathing, then move on to your walking and move on to every routine in your daily life. Bring awareness and mindfulness into your life. And after a while, you have enough energy, enough conditions for you to really sit down and look at what have made you suffer and write out, is it because my misperception? Is it because of my misunderstanding? Or because the way I perceive things and it's not true that caused me suffering? Or whether in my daily life I water all this negative or not good feeling from news, from media, from internet, from billboard, or even a conversation that keep on watering that seeds of suffering or the seed of sadness in me. And then over time, it's like a glass of water. When it's full, it just overflow. So the best way is when in your practice, trying to empty the cup to the point that the more you fill up with your practice and look deeply and understanding, there'll be more capacity for you to embrace that inner child, to embrace that suffering. So it's not running away from the negative seeds, but to look into it, use it as a tool to know that there are happiness possible when suffering is side by side. So when you look at your right hand, left and right coexist together. Without the left, there's no right. So you cannot say, I don't want any suffering. I just want to be happy. It depends on each other. So, but the mental formation, the mental state of your mind, how strong are you in order to look at your suffering, to walk with it, that is dependent on your practice. So it takes time for you to grow that inner strength. It takes time for you to really look into the hardest suffering that you have been going through. But don't lose faith. Trust in your practice and also trust in the Sangha. If you come once in a month or once in a while to the monastery or to learn the Dharma, you can't do it. You have to continue. And when you wake up in the morning, give yourself like 5 to 10 minutes to really calm yourself down, sit down, take a few deep breaths, start your new day with a calm and serene mind so that you know that life is possible. Life is a treasure. Life is opportunity for you to have a second chance to rejoice yourself, to be fully get in touch with your life. And so that when you go to sleep that night, you know that you have done your best to stay away and not to water any seeds that you think that is negative, that have caused you to suffer. So don't run away, don't separate yourself from your suffering, but walk with it. Or if you have a friend or you have someone that you trust, you can share that. And maybe their views is different because they are standing from outside looking in. So if you share your feelings, your sadness, or your troubles, then together you can walk together too. So I hope you a good luck, and thank you so much for your written question.
I lost my dad 3 months ago. I have a lot of regrets. And I also want to hear his voice again. What do I do?
Chào chị. Câu hỏi này làm con nhớ tới nó có liên quan tới câu chuyện của con, cho nên con xin phép trả lời. Cái ngày đó ba con cũng mất, và con mới thật sự thấy được là trong thời gian vừa rồi mình chưa thực tập gì được bao nhiêu để đối diện khi người thân mình mất. Vậy trong giây phút người thân mình mất, mình làm cái gì? Rồi sau khi mình chia tay họ, rồi mình sống như thế nào? Ngoài cái việc mình muốn nghe cái giọng của ba mình muốn làm gì cho ba mình, thì con nghĩ là chị cũng ngồi cho yên và thở giống như con đã từng làm điều đó. Và con thở thật sâu, con thấy là ba con không mất, chỉ đó có hình tướng thôi. Và mình chia tay một người bạn đi xa, và tất cả những gì ba mình để lại nó nằm ở trong cái thân thể của mình. Thế là con bắt đầu con thực tập đi thiền hành. Mỗi lần cái giờ thiền hành của đại chúng, hoặc là cái giờ đi đến thiền đường, đi công phu, những bước chân đó con bước cho ba. Và bắt đầu con nhớ lại những gì mà trước đó con chưa làm được, con đều làm cho ba. Mình phải nhớ lại những cái kỷ niệm hồi xưa mình hờ hững, mình buông trôi. Có nghĩa là chúng ta đều có một cái hạt giống từ chối tình thương của người khác. Và mình nghĩ là người lớn không hiểu mình và trách cứ mình đủ điều, cho nên mình không chấp nhận điều đó. Thì bây giờ mình bắt đầu ngó lại và mình thực tập điều đó. Mình thấy được là ba luôn luôn có trong những tế bào, trong cái suy nghĩ, trong cách hành động của mình. Và một buổi đó con chợt thấy được là cái hành động đó là hành động ở trong cái thân thể này, là hành động của ba mình. Ba là một người rất là vững chãi. Nếu như bạn thấy ba bạn có những yếu tố đó thì nằm ở trong đây. Rất là thương con nhưng mà không bao giờ biết nói lời thương yêu. Thì mình cũng vậy, mình biết thương nhưng mình ít dùng ngôn ngữ để mình nói. mình dùng hành động để mình diễn tả, mình cho đi những cái điều đó. Vậy thì ngoài cái việc mà mình muốn lắng nghe cái lời của ba mình, thì mình lắng nghe cái lời của mình đang nói, mình muốn làm cái gì cho bản thân mình tốt hơn bây giờ, thì cái đó là cái mà mình đang làm tiếp tục cho ba. Và mình trả ơn cho ba cũng giống như là mình nghe tiếng nói của ba với tiếng nói của mình là một. Con nghĩ đó là cái cách tốt nhất và cái cách mà mình chuyển hóa, mình nhận diện lại người thân mình mất và mình sống đẹp hơn trong hiện tại và tiếp theo cho tương lai. Nếu mà bạn chưa thực tập tốt hơn thì để tâm thực tập tiếp, trong khi ăn, trong khi đi và trong khi làm, trong khi nói. Những cái gì chúng ta nói ra mà chúng ta thấy được cái hạt giống đó của ba trao truyền, của mẹ trao truyền, thì chúng ta nhận diện, chúng ta làm tốt hơn. Chúc mừng bạn, chúc bạn may mắn.
Dear Thai, dear Sangha, good to be here with all of you today. I feel a little nervous with my question, but I'll say it anyway. My question is, why do the monks all wear brown robes? I know that swamis wear orange robes that mean they're burning everything and into the fire, swaha. But I'm just curious why brown, and does the color have a meaning?
I don't know either. I just know that we just wear brown just to wear brown. But the true meaning of brown, but we wear brown, is that we practice humility. And we also practice like the earth. That's why the earth is brown. That's why we wear brown. And when we practice like that, we practice humility, we practice compassion, we practice to deep listening of other people sharing whatever the earth takes in all these unfilthy things. That's what we practice, is to take in whatever that comes towards us, to be humble about that. That's what browns represent. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. I had a feeling it had something to do with Earth, but
Thank you for your
answering.
questions.
I feel that right now there is so much misinformation. There's so much misunderstanding. It's hard to find the truth. There are many messages being sent to change people's minds or make people think in a certain way. And it causes much suffering between people, friends, strangers. People feel very separate, and the messages make them feel more separate. What can we tell a friend who believes in a truth or a reality that is different from the one we believe?
Thì làm sao mà thực tập với những người mà cái cách nhìn của họ về sự thật, cái nhận.
Con xin phép được chia sẻ câu hỏi này. Sáng ngày hôm qua là giờ Mỹ, New York là 9 giờ sáng. Thì giờ bên Melbourne, Úc là 2 giờ sáng. Và cũng có một cô cư sĩ đã gọi điện hỏi con một câu y như vậy. Làm như thế nào khi mà chúng ta đối
How to face with news that are incorrect and cause a lot of affect a lot of people's minds. As a practitioner, we must give us first establish enough stability. For example, today, when it rains, we might feel sad, but as a practitioner, how do we look at the rain and practice? Maybe the sadness will float by, and then we should come back to doing what we're doing. It's like when we receive a piece of news, we breathe and recognize. So it's not about right or wrong. When we can consider, if it's not, when our mind is agitated, then it's incorrect. But when our mind has enough peace and calm when we receive the news, that is correct for us. We cannot control news that come from outside or from people bringing to us, but we can control how our mind reacts to them. I also receive a lot of false news, but I'm able to remain calm and peaceful because I know that they're not real. Because I see that every time I listen to a piece of news, I remain calm and at ease. So it is us that we have to continue to practice peace. Each day we practice sitting meditation. Before you wake up, maybe you can sit on your bed and breathe for a few minutes. Breathe deeply, and as we make the first steps, make peaceful, solid steps. If we see that our mind is agitated or our head is dizzy, then we know our mind is agitated. When we have enough peace, we'll be able to receive news from outside. There's a lot of news on the internet that are incorrect, false. And if every day we encounter the internet, imagine how many things we receive. If we can make a list of all the different pieces of information that we receive, a lot. And also what comes from within. If we don't spend enough time to take care of our own mind, then we have an imbalance. So let us establish balance in ourselves, and we know that we have the right to refuse receiving news that are not helpful or beneficial for our mind, and establish our mind in peace. It's like we have a storage that is cluttered, and we need to clean it up. So I know there's a lot of young people. I heard that there's college students here in our monastery, and I know that as young people, we receive a lot of news from and information from outside. But let us recognize how much we pay attention to ourselves and how much we pay attention to the outer environment. When we're able to recognize the imbalance, and we'll be able to re-establish equilibrium. I hope that you will be able to look deeply into the way you live your life and re-establish balance, and see that you can not receive so much news and forget about taking care of your own inner self. Thank you.
Hello. I wanted to ask you, what is the meaning for you to have guests here in the monastery, and what do you learn you from us, having us here? Yes, I can repeat my question. What is the meaning for you to have us here in the monastery, and what do you learn from us?
Thank you for your questions. I'm not sure what I learned from you, but I know that not that we learn from you, but we learn from each other. We see you how you practice, and you see us how we practice. And that way we exchange just by, looking or practicing together, like walking meditation, things like that. That's how we learn from each other, not learn from you. Of course, you come here, you learn from us. But what we do is we exchange. We share things with you. And that we teach you to share you the practices. In return, that you teach us for being here with us. It's a very joyful for us to have you here. Okay? Thank you.
I often associate freedom with financial freedom. And I wanted to learn from you, how do you or how did you let go of materialism and those type of concepts while you practice?
Community, thank you for the question. The way I think of this, I don't think that money decides our freedom. And this is the aim of those who are walking on the path of liberation. We know that material resources and money is are one of the many conditions for our happiness. If we think that that's the only condition for our happiness, or in other words, freedom, then we can look around and recognize that there are those who are successful financially, material, and yet they also have a lot of suffering. So in our modern life, people are people following the the lifestyle of simplicity, simplify material things around us, and instead establish our lives on the level of just enough. That is similar to the way that we practice here at the monastery, is to practice having a little and just enough. And when we know that we have enough, then we have happiness. If we don't know if we never feel like we have enough, then we will continue to be busy with our desires. When we have a car, for example, or before we have a car, we want to have a car to help with transportation. But once we have a car as a means of transport, we want to have a more comfortable car with amenities, very modern. And because of these desires, we have to work more, work harder, and that brings lots of worries. So true freedom is a lifestyle of knowing that we have enough. So we have to establish our lives in such a way that we have just enough and not excess. That's how I also practice. Thank you for the question.
Buddha says that that there is no birth and that there is no death, and that there is no going and that there is no coming. And the ways to practice this is to practice non-self and impermanence. So my question is, how do we practice that?
Well, if you are a long-term practitioner, this is a very deep question. In my daily lives, I only know that I am enjoying the autumn leaves or it's raining, and I know that there's people here listening to us sharing. And when I came up here, I don't think I am sharing. I think whatever I possess is thanks to learning from our teacher, from the patriarchs, from the Buddha, from the past past generations. That is practicing non-self. I try to share my whole heart with what I know, with my perception, that I feel happy to share, and I don't need to compare myself to others. And I see that right now I have enough happiness. The terms no birth, no death, impermanence, they are concepts that help us to live our life freely. Sometimes we are caught in our mental formations, our feelings, or we're caught in the news, caught in desire, material things, and we're caught, and it causes us to think so much, to worry so much, that we lose our happiness and joy in the present moment. That's when we're not living for ourselves. For me, I try to practice simply every morning when I open my eyes in the morning, and and at night I close my eyes to sleep. So during the whole day that I'm awake, I don't need to search for something grand. I'll just live simply, and I live my whole heart with my whole heart with the people around me. You can live wholeheartedly with your loved ones, your friends, your colleagues. Whatever you do today means it will continue tomorrow. So we don't need to search for no birth, no death. There is continuation from today. Anything to add? Mình thêm một câu hỏi này.
Live myself in the present moment. If you live yourself in the present moment, then you'll be in touch the true reality in the present moment. But if you keep on wondering where that no coming, no going, then your future will be that, just like she shared. So ask yourself this question: have I lived fully in the present moment in order to touch in the present moment? Ask yourself that. Thank you.
There is an online question I'd like to read first. How do I release fear of being deeply hurt? And do I try to open again to those who have hurt me because of their own suffering? maybe our friend online, maybe if you have to come late or if you have been at the beginning of the question answers, you have heard of many question and answer from our monastic up here. But before you can release your fear of being deeply hurt, come to the practice first. Return to yourself and practice with awareness, mindfulness, concentration, insight. Don't try to be in a hurry, trying to reconcile or even to help a friend that have been hurt you, or don't try anything yet. Because right now there's a lot of judgment that you have toward that friend, a lot of misperception, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of doubts. You have set yourself a wall, a barrier to really look, to really see deeply who they really are. Everyone has their own suffering. Some might little, some might a lot. All of us here in this room, when we look at the orchid flower, each of us look at it differently. To a deer, that's their food. To us, it's something beautiful. Or to some that have a bad experience with them, might not like the orchid flower at all. So when you're being hurt, you temporarily set up this wall of saying, they are the cause of my suffering. I should blame them. I should not, trying all this, come out in your mind, running all these movie, films, everything they say, they are the fault of my suffering. So the best way is temporarily stop, come back, and take care of that suffering inside you first. Untangle slowly what have caused that misperception, what have caused your suffering to arise when you hear them say something, when you see them, or when you interact with them. So when you have enough strength in yourself to transform that hurt and that fear, then slowly you can start by writing them a love letter. Don't say anything yet, because saying might cause also a misunderstanding, but write a love letter to them saying, I have been hurt by your action, your words, your thoughts. I would like to reconcile. I would like to get to know you better. So writing a love letter gives you a chance to really take your time to look deeply into the relationship between you and that person, because you are into art in some way. And so, and then also you can learn the practice of beginning anew. In the practice beginning anew, we taught how to begin anew with yourself first, and then begin anew with your friend, with your loved one. So if you have a chance to come to us at the monastery and practice with us, and then have a time to interact with the monks and nuns, and even with our lay friends here, with the practitioners, you have enough strength and enough condition for you slowly to take care of that fear and to really understand, so that you can, it may be a week, a month, a year from now, you have enough faith and enough strength to help your friend. So don't worry, we are here for you. Please come to us. Thank you.
Hello. My question is very practical. So during meditation, sometimes I start to fall asleep, and my head falls maybe, and I don't know what to do. So I'm seeking advice to see how you practice when you're tired or falling asleep, because maybe you're so calm. Thank you.
Maybe the answer, this is an easy question I'd like to answer. Maybe get a good night's sleep before. But really, when your body reacts, is because of the tensions in your body. There might be some stress somewhere. Maybe there's a burden that you've been carrying. So even though you slept the night before, but when you wake up early, it might not really refresh yet. And also, it's like a train going on a high speed. It takes time to slow down. Even the conductor put on the brake, but it takes time to really slow down all those speed to come to a complete stop. And so your body, the whole week you've been working, you've been doing whatever, and to come at a monastery, this is like a last stop, and everything trying to stop yourself. And then when you wake up in the morning, your body's not used to it yet. It takes time for your body to get used to this energy, this calmness that you see in the meditation when you come in at 6 o'clock in the morning. And so it's by training your body to recognize, okay, this is sitting. This is what sitting still is like. This is what recognizing my breathing is like. And then also, when you close your eye and your body is tired, you will easily fall to sleep again. So the best way is to open your eyes, look at 45 or 30 degrees in front of you. And by looking, that is concentration right there. And at the same time, you bring the awareness to your body that I am sitting. And then maybe slowly you can adjust where your back, maybe you lean too much forward, or maybe you lean too much backward. All that tension will cause when it's too much, your body will break. So by recognizing that, fix your posture in a way so that I feel comfortable. And it's just not about sitting. If you're really, really tired and you still want to practice, you can stand up and do slow walking meditation. It's not as in when we do sitting together, but at home when you're trying to sit, but you feel sleepy and you still want to practice, you can stand up and walk around in your living room. But the best way is to train your body to know that this is sitting, this is walking. And when your mind and body are one, that is when the outcome of your practice will be much more sufficient. And also, practice is what brings us joy. When there's no joy, when there's no feeling fresh and feeling, happy, then that is not the right practice. Practice is not forcing your body. Practice not forcing your mind to be like in this, in the cells. Like you have to follow me. If you don't follow, I won't accept you. It's by observing all around you and bringing new energy into your body and mind. So don't worry if you kind of feel, we all do too, even though some of us practice so many times, so many years, but when we are tired, it's always happened. It's not about rejecting it, but accepting it. Say, okay, this morning I sit like this, maybe during the day I will get a nap at lunchtime, and then maybe I will go to bed early, or maybe I will try next time. So it's about continuing slowly, slowly, slowly. Thank you.
I think we take 2 more questions.
The majority of my work experience has been working with adults with disabilities, and many times that comes with mental illness. I would argue 10 out of 10 times that it's different than the average person suffering. I think it's clearly different. It doesn't diminish our suffering. It doesn't diminish the average person suffering, but it certainly is different. I've noticed it myself. So perhaps this is a 2-part question. Have you had any interactions with adults with mental illness, personal experience with them, and what has been the outcome like? Have you had any breakthroughs, any success, any luck easing their suffering? And did you feel do you feel responsible for fixing it for them? Thank you.
nhiều đối tượng sẽ được đến tu học. Và mỗi đối tượng đều có một cái duyên đến với một vị nào trong chúng xuất gia để được hướng dẫn tu tập và chuyển hóa. Riêng bản thân con có nhiều cơ hội đến những trung tâm chạy tị nạn khi con còn ở Paris, chạy tị nạn giữa Pháp và Anh. Những cái trại tâm thần phân liệt của Úc. Và nhiều người lớn tuổi đang trong giai đoạn gần ra đi, thì con thấy họ luôn luôn có một nỗi sợ hãi. Thực ra cái đó không phải già mới có, mà từ nhỏ tới lớn họ đã có rồi, chúng ta hiện giờ đang có. Nhưng mà họ không có đủ may mắn để biết cách thực tập như chúng ta, cho nên khi già họ càng sợ hãi nhiều hơn. Vậy thì khi tiếp xúc với họ, cái điều đầu tiên chúng ta mang đến là một cái niềm bình an, một cái năng lượng bình an. Khi đủ bình an thì chúng ta không có sợ hãi với những cái hành động của họ tạo ra. Tại vì khi họ sợ, họ luôn luôn có những cái rào chắn và những cái phương pháp đẩy mình ra khỏi khi mà mình muốn tiếp xúc với họ. Đối với con thì khi mà mình đủ tình thương, mình mới làm được công việc đó. Và mình thấy được là khi tiếp xúc với họ thì mình càng có nhiều tình thương hơn. Vì mình thấy mình may mắn, mình sống trong được môi trường đầy đủ những yếu tố thuận lợi. Và cái tình thương của mình nó đầy hơn. Nó không có ít hơn họ, nó đầy hơn. Chính vì khi đầy hơn cho nên mình mới hiểu được họ khổ đau như thế nào. Thì khi mà mình tiếp xúc với họ như vậy thì cái năng lượng bình an của mình nó trang trải cho họ được. Và họ bắt đầu cảm giác là không đã yên lắng hơn một chút, và họ bắt đầu lắng nghe mình hướng dẫn. Và cái thứ hai nữa là mình phải biết lắng nghe. Khi mình lắng nghe họ có nghĩa là mình đang trị liệu cho họ. Không cần mình phải nói nhiều, chỉ cần lắng nghe họ thôi. Ngồi đó với một năng lượng bình an, với một trái tim thương yêu và lắng nghe. Và không cần phải hướng dẫn gì nhiều hết, thì tự nhiên giống như cái túi bọc của họ nó trào ra và tự nhiên nó vơi từ từ. Những khổ đau nó vơi từ từ. Con nghĩ tất cả chúng ta nếu mà có thực tập, có đủ bình an, có đủ thương yêu đều giúp đỡ được trong những môi trường đó. Thì chính Du cũng vậy, cũng có thể thực tập cho mình. Mình đến tăng thân, mình thực tập cùng tăng thân. Nếu như mình ở gần đây mình cũng thực tập với quý thầy, quý sư cô, để cho cái năng lượng thương yêu của mình, năng lượng bình an của mình mỗi ngày nó được nuôi lớn, nó được lớn dậy, giống như là mình ăn đều mỗi bữa vậy đó. Một ngày 3 bữa mình ăn đều thì cái năng lượng tu học của mình nó cũng giống là thức ăn như vậy. Nó phải nuôi cho mình đầy đủ thì mình mới san sẻ được. Còn không, khi đến với họ mình chỉ có mệt mỏi thôi. Khi mình mệt mỏi mình chẳng giúp ai được. Thì con muốn chia sẻ một chút xíu về cái tinh thần đó cho cái chú này. Hy vọng là khi mình muốn làm cái gì đó cho những cái người cần ở ngoài xã hội thì chúng ta phải có cái gì để cho, chứ không thể nào mà tay trắng cho đi được. Có nghĩa là giống như mình phải có của mình mới cho được. Mình muốn cho 10 đồng thì trong túi mình phải có 15 đồng. Mình muốn cho bình an thì chắc chắn mình phải có bình an mình mới cho. Không thể nào mà đi vay mượn của người khác mà cho được. Thì khi mình vay mượn có nghĩa là mình đang mệt mỏi, thì phải dừng lại. Thì cái điều đó con muốn chia sẻ với chú, để trong công việc khi mình tiếp xúc với những thành phần đối tượng như vậy, mình biết cách dừng lại hoặc là biết cách cho ra. Dạ con xin hết.
Good morning. Thank you very much for being here. My question is, I'm finding myself hesitating going deeper into practicing because I feel myself changing. I feel I'm not enjoying certain things as much anymore. Parties, shopping, certain friends and groups. I feel people perceiving and reacting to me very differently the more I practice. And I feel isolated from communities where I used to feel very close. And I also feel a deep mourning for who I used to be. I don't know, like, who I am exactly anymore. I can feel myself stepping into something great, but I feel myself still holding for what I was, what I had. And I wonder, how do you let go?
How you let go of what?
Of my old identity. Or I guess identifying myself by the things I was working so hard for. Job titles, access, parties, clothes, food. It doesn't feel like it has as much meaning anymore.
I have a story that I would like to share with you. I have a friend that just like you, and she asked the same question just like you. And I told her that when you look deeply into your practice, you find your true identity of who you are. You don't throw away what you have, but you look deeply into that. The practice is looking deeply is very important, but how you share, I feel that you're afraid to change, right? Yeah. Don't be afraid to change. If this change is a better change for you, then do it. If it's really out of what other people say, then you should not take other people, what they're saying, but look inside of you. The other day when I was reading a book, it's called The Zen Monkey and a Lotus Flower. It's a really short story, but it says the elephant trying to find his companion. And he tried to look everywhere for his companions in order to be with them, in order to, have fun and be with them. But there's one little frog. He said, "Why you search far? But why don't you look inside of you in order to find your own companion by breathing, by reflecting, by accepting who you are, not just judging yourself, not just, comparing yourself with your friend, But when you practice, you come back to yourself, you accept who you are, and you beautify yourself. But don't be afraid of change. I remember I'm afraid of change too. But then I have to accept myself by loving myself more, to be who I am. And that's how you find your true self. Your true self is lying deep inside of you. But you're afraid to open up that true self. So practice is to reflect and look deeply. Thank you. Thank you, dear brothers and sisters and dear friends, for your wonderful questions. And I hope you enjoy our day of mindfulness, even though it's a rainy day. But please try as much as you can. And thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much.
So dear community, ask for your support by just sitting still and just unfold your leg and massage or release any tension or stretching. We've been sitting more than an hour. And with the next small sound, the bell, we all stand up and bow to our panelists here. And then we ask for your support to sit down for some announcement. Thank you. Now we invite you to sit back down, and I just have some quick announcement.